Greetings and welcome back to Scripture and Prophecy. I'm Sean, and our website is www.scriptureandprophecy.com. Today is Monday, November 20th, 2017. Today we are reading from Bereshit, Genesis. We're reading chapter 31 today. And this is the last chapter we dealt with Jacob and Laban made a deal. All the spotted sheep and goats would go to him, and all the ones without spots and speckles and stuff would be Laban's, and then Jacob would be able to leave. He kind of runs into a problem. He gets afraid that Laban's going to try to pull another stunt on him because he's done it. Laban's pulled this stuff on him so many times, and so Jacob's going to flee with his wife and all of the prosperity that's come about since he got there. Stuff that's actually rightfully his, but Laban believes it belongs to him. And so that's kind of where we're going to end up here. So Jacob fleeing from his uncle Laban is what's taking place here in Genesis chapter 31. So without further delay, let's get into it. Verse 1. Then he heard the words of Laban's son saying, Jacob has taken all that belonged to our father, and from that which belonged to our father he has amassed all his wealth. Jacob also noticed Laban's disposition, that, behold, it was not toward him as earlier days. In other words, he's saying, and the King James says that Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban. I mean, just the way that he his attitude towards Jacob, the way he looked at Jacob, it was just, it was different than what it was when Jacob first arrived and Laban began to be blessed by the hands of Jacob. Verse 3. And Yahovah said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and to your native land, and I will be with you. Jacob sent and summoned Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock, and he said to them, I have noticed that your father's disposition is not toward me as in earlier days, but the God of my father was with me. Now you have known that it was with all my might that I served your father, yet your father mocked me and changed my wages 100 times. But God did not permit him to harm me. If he would stipulate, speckled ones shall be your wages, then the entire flock bore speckled ones. And if he would stipulate, ringed ones shall be your wages, then the entire flock bore ringed ones. Thus God took away your father's livestock and gave it to me. I think what's going on here is Laban would say, okay, look, the flock with speckles on it, those are going to be yours. Well, and then God would prosper the speckled ones, and many speckled would come, and then Laban would say, okay, no, ringed ones will be ones with brown rings on them will be your wages, and then of course God would prosper that, and he would get a lot of ringed ones. That's what he's getting at, is Laban would continuously change his wages because Laban was always trying to take whatever was best for himself. It once happened at the mating time of a flock that I raised my eyes and saw in a dream, behold, the he-goats that mounted the flock were ringed, speckled, and checkered. And an angel of God said to me in a dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. He said, Raise your eyes, if you please, and see that all the he-goats mounting the flocks are ringed, speckled, and checkered. For I've seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, and where you made me vow. Now, arise, leave this land, and return to your native land. Then Rachel and Leah replied and said unto him, Have we then a share and an inheritance in our father's house? Are we not considered by him as strangers? For he has sold us, and even totally consumed our money. But all the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. So now, whatever God has said to you, do. Jacob arose and lifted his children and his wives unto camels. he led away all his livestock and all the wealth which he amassed. His purchased property, which he had amassed in Paddan Aram, to go to his father Isaac to the land of Canaan. Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole the teraphim that belonged to her father. Now this teraphim was some type of idol. And the commentator here says the teraphim were idols which Rachel took to keep her father from idol worship, is what the rabbi gives as a reason. The scripture doesn't actually tell us why she took it, at least not up to this point. But that's what that is. So when it says that Rachel stole a teraphim, let me see what the King James Version calls it here. And Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. That's what the King James says. So it's an idol. Think of like a carved image, something that Laban probably worshipped and bowed down to. Verse 20. Jacob deceived Laban, the Aramean, by not telling him that he was fleeing. Thus he fled with all that he had. He arose and he crossed the river, and he set his direction towards Mount Gilead. It was told to Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled. So he took his kinsmen with him and pursued him a distance of 7 days, catching up with him at Mount Gilead. But God had come to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream by night and said unto him, Beware lest you speak with Jacob, either good or bad. Laban overtook Jacob. Jacob had pitched his tent on the mountain, while Laban had stationed his kinsmen on Mount Gilead. Laban said to Jacob, What have you done that you have deceived me and led my daughters away like captives of the sword? Why have you fled so stealthily and cheated me? Nor did you tell me, for I would have sent you off with gladness, with songs, with timbrel, and with a lyre. And you did not even allow me to kiss my sons and daughters. Now you have acted foolishly. It is in my power to do all harm, but the God of your father addressed me last night, saying, Beware of speaking with Jacob, either good or bad. Now, you have left because you longed greatly for your father's house, but why did you steal my gods? I believe Laban's referring, he's saying, why did you steal my gods? He's referring to the idols that Rachel had stolen. Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I thought perhaps you might steal your daughters from me. With whomever you find your gods, he shall not live. In the presence of our kinsmen, assertion for yourself what is with me, and take it back. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. So Jacob's saying, you know what, search for your gods. Well, whoever you find them on, that person, they're not even going to live for stealing it. Of course, he didn't know that it was Rachel. Verse 33. Laban came into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent, and in the tent of the two maidservants he found nothing. When he had left Leah's tent, he came into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the teraphim and put them into the camel's back or pack saddle, and sat on them. Laban rummaged through the whole tent, but found nothing. She said to her father, Let not my lord be angered that I cannot rise up before you, for the way of the woman is upon me. Thus he searched, but did not find the teraphim. So basically, Rachel here is saying, I can't get up off the camel because I'm having some lady troubles. Verse 36. Then Jacob became angered, and he took up his grievance with Laban. Jacob spoke up and said to Laban, What is my transgression? What is my sin, that you have haughtily pursued me, when you rummaged through all my things? What did you find in all your household objects? Set it here before my kinsmen and your kinsmen, and let them decide between the two of us. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes, your she-goats, never miscarried, nor did I eat rams of your flock. That which I mangled I never brought you. I myself would bear the loss. From me you would exact it, whether it was stolen by day or stolen by night. This is how I was. By day scorching heat consumed me, and frost by night, my sleep drifted from my eyes. This is my 20 years in your household. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 100 times. Had not the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the dread of Isaac, been with me, you would surely have now sent me away empty-handed. God saw my wretchedness and the toil of my hands, so he admonished you last night. Interesting, Jacob calls God the God of Abraham and the dread of Isaac. I just find that really strange. The King James says the fear of Isaac. Now, the commentator here says that that's the reason why he calls him that is because of the situation on the mount where Abraham took Isaac up on the mount to sacrifice him unto the Lord. And so that's one possibility as to why he refers to him as the dread of Isaac or the fear of Isaac. Verse 43. Then Laban spoke up and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, and the children are my children, and the flock is my flock, and all that you see is mine. Yet to my daughters, what could I do to them this day, or to their children whom they have borne? So now come, let us make a covenant, I and you, and he shall be a witness between me and you. Then Jacob took a stone and raised it up on a monument. And Jacob said to his brethren, gather stones. So they took stones and made a mound, and they ate there on the mound. Laban called it Jagar Shuhadatha, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban declared, this mound is a witness between me and you today. Therefore it is called its name Gilead. And as for the mitzvah, because he said, may Yahovah keep watch between me and you, and when we are out of each other's sight. If you will treat my daughters, or if you will marry wives in addition to my daughters, though no man may be among us, but see, God is a witness between me and you. And Laban said to Jacob, here is the mound, and here is the monument which I have cast between me and you. This mound shall be a witness, and the monument shall be a witness, that I may not cross over to you past this mound, nor may you cross over to me past this mound, and this monument for evil. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor judge between us, the God of their fathers. And Jacob swore by the dread of his father Isaac. Then Jacob slaughtered for a feast on the mountain, and summoned his kinsmen to break bread. And they broke bread, and they spent the night on the mountain. And Laban woke early in the morning, and he kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban went and returned to his place. Jacob went on his way, and angels of God encountered him. Jacob said, when we saw them, this is a godly camp. So he called the name of the place Mahanaim. That's the end of our study for today. And not a lot to discuss that we didn't cover as we were reading it. Hopefully, I say this all the time, hopefully you're being blessed by these readings, by these Bible studies. You know, we're doing the Torah because I just feel like it's just lost on so many people. So many people just don't know the stories, and they don't know all the things that point to Messiah. They don't know all the things that you know, some of the symbolism and things that are used in prophecy and again in the New Testament, and you don't know what it means because you don't know what the Old Testament says. And you know, Genesis is this great story of history of, you know, of God and God's people, and I just think it's really, really important. So I pray that it's blessing you, and if it is, I'd love to know about it. You can find all the archives at the website, and not only that, I've started doing what I used to do, which is I have recommended videos and blog posts and things that I try to update every day or every other day throughout the week. So a lot more there for you to content there for you. There's also a prayer wall. If you have a prayer request, go there and post it, and then other people who come will see it and pray for you. And if you're a prayer warrior, you might want to go there and look and see who's in need of prayer. And all of that is at the website at scriptureandprophecy.com. As far as the podcast this week, it's Thanksgiving week. I'm not sure how it's all going to shake out. We'll just have to wait and see. but probably get 3 podcasts out this week. But I'm not sure how they're all going to fall on what days. So you'll just have to be patient with me this week. As when we move into holidays and we have busier times going on and family commitments and things, we kind of have to make do and do things on the fly. So your patience would be much appreciated. That's all I got for you today. Peace and grace be with all of you, and until next time, God bless.